Mhm. Hi, Omar.
Hi, Tony. Good to see you.
Welcome. Good to see you. Welcome to University Challenge. Um, I know a little bit about you, but for the listeners today and the listeners to come, could you share your full name and what it is you do today?
Yeah, so full name, Omar Sadik, one of the co-founders here at TrainYo, and ultimately what we're trying to do is break down the barriers for people from all backgrounds to get into the tech sector. So we get people, we train them for free, put them on our job board and enable them to access companies that are hiring for SDRs, in a nutshell.
Awesome. What a perfect nutshell it is.
That's it.
So co-founder of TrainYo today, but
Mhm.
if we were to go back to when you were at secondary school,
Yeah.
what are your memories of being there?
Um, I quite like school. It wasn't that bad. I think sixth form was probably the best years. It's like school with just more freedom, right? Basically,
Yeah,
than what if you were working or not. But yeah, I quite like school. I used to get decent grades. I think I was the kid that I used to just talk a lot, but I used to just like soak information up. Academically, I was all right in that sense. So got decent grades. Got told off a fair bit for not getting better grades or trying harder to get absolute A stars. But yeah, I quite enjoyed it. It's quite looking back on it. I did I did quite like school. Looking back on it.
And what did you study for your GCSEs? Was there a particular path you were trying to follow?
Um, no, I think I did PE because I
Yeah,
enjoyed it. I went to a language
yeah,
because I was good at German, but then I think parents were like, no, there's not much point.
mm,
So I did ICT, I did business studies. That was always interesting for me.
yeah,
What else did I do? History. I enjoyed
yeah,
it. Yeah, so I enjoyed history. I had a really good history teacher. I really enjoyed history. And I also did psychology. No, that
yeah,
psychology was A level, sorry.
yeah.
There's a few of the subjects. I think because I was in top sets, I did like all the extra sciences, double
Yeah.
maths, lit
Wow.
line. I think there's one thing that I'm missing. I cannot remember the life of me.
It'll come to you.
Yeah.
Um, so what did you take at A level then, having done all of the GCSEs? That triple, you would have done so three
I like,
separate sciences, yeah?
like 15. I think I had like 15 GCSEs. I think
Wow.
I get I got like three A's, five B's, seven C's. And that's yeah, so there's a lot of exams I remember.
Nice.
It wasn't particularly stressful. Like I didn't really do much revision, so it was all right. It wasn't too stressful.
You just academically, you're just there. It just seems to suit you then.
Yeah, I was all right. I didn't really realize at the time my teacher used to shout at me because I think I was getting all right grades. But everyone used to say, my parents say, like, "Oh, put some effort in." I
Yeah.
didn't really realize why at the time, but maybe looking back, maybe I could have done more. But for A levels, I went and
Hmm.
did psychology,
Yeah.
business, and IT.
Great.
I think there was a fourth one in the first year that I got dropped. I can't remember. I think that was history. I think I did history.
Yeah.
And then I fell out with the teacher, so I just didn't go to the lessons. But I think
Okay.
I I kind of focused on for the next 2 years.
Okay. So you got a nice combination there on your A levels.
Yeah,
Um, so university must have been on the cards, was it? What happened?
yeah, it was. And then I think well, that was the only path I really knew. Right, there was nothing really else ever shown to me.
Mm,
But I didn't get, apply to university, but I didn't get the grades. Obviously, maybe I found out should have done some more work. But there are a lot of things happening in my life at that time, which maybe took my head off it. So I applied to like I think the top unis around Birmingham. I think I was predicted like AAB, but I didn't get those, so I didn't get any of the offers, right?
right.
And then the options for me then was either go to just a not so good uni that would just let me in with the grades I got.
Hmm.
Retake, those are the options given to me by my family, and I said I don't really want to retake. Don't want to be I want to start
Mm,
working sooner rather than later. Wanted to go to work, but
yeah.
it's not really allowed. I was living at home at the time, so didn't really have a choice. So it just ended up just signing up to Wolverhampton Uni.
Hmm.
I think I just rocked up to the uni and said, these are the grades I've got. What course is going to do? And then they gave me a raft, and I was like, all right, I just picked accounting and finance because it was like, whatever. So I just
Yeah.
picked that, got my loans, and just I think I went into like 3 times, just got the money. We got loans and
Yeah.
grants like £9,000 with the grants and the
Yeah.
loans. And just chilled.
Okay.
Yeah, basically that was my uni experience.
You chilled for a year.
Yeah, we went like 3 or 4 times. And that was about it. It wasn't really,
Yeah.
and that was pretty much my university experience all the way.
What did you think of it? Having been told that that's the path that you ought to follow, and then you've gone, you got some grants. What was your university experience for that year?
Uh, Not much. I mean, I didn't really want to study anymore. I wanted to work. I wanted to
Mm,
to earn money. There were certain things going on that meant I needed to earn. I didn't really see a point in university. I don't think I actually knew 100% what I wanted to do. I just
mm,
knew I didn't want to continue studying. I wanted to just get out there, make some money, do something.
yeah.
But if when you're living at home, you don't really, you got to do what your parents say at kind of that age. So I said, all right, I'll just do it just to please everyone, and I really intend to do things. So I just going all the time and enjoying the money that I had. Like, there's a lot of money to get kind of all at once. So
Yeah.
yeah, I really, but I didn't really have much of a say in it. It was just like, this is what you have to do. Everyone in the family was just saying, this is what you got to do. You got no choice. You got to go. Those are the things you got to do to do something in life. I didn't really agree with it, but I
Hmm.
was frustrated for that period of time.
And what happened then? So you've done a year and it's not for you. How did you tell your family? What did they say? How did you take that step out of university and into the world of work?
I don't even think I told them really. I think I think my dad was just like, you're not even doing it, you're not even going to uni. Like, I was just not doing anything. I would see that I wasn't going to university. And I was like, look, I don't see the point in it. I need to make money. I gotta, do things with that money. I gotta send it places.
Mm,
So I think it was just like a conclusion where I just kind of gave up and just said, all right, going to work. And then I said, I want to go into sales because I did a bit of sales before.
mm-hmm.
In between six when I knew I was doing door to door, commission only selling Sky. And I did all right. Like,
Wow.
I loved it. I enjoyed it. It was a bit of a brainwashing environment, but I enjoyed it at the time. Like, I was working 11, 12 hours a day. I'd wake up at 8. I'd get back home at about
Yeah.
midnight, knocking doors all day. But
Wow.
money was like, I was what, 16, 17.
Yeah.
Um, First week didn't sell anything. Second week smashed it. Got promoted.
Mm,
Probably made about just over £1,000 in a month. And for
yeah.
that time, oh, that's like money, man.
Yeah.
I want to go into sales, and I was like, no, sales isn't a proper job. You can't do that. Blah 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 blah. So then I just ended up doing an apprenticeship for like 12 grand a year at a company called Wesleyan down in
Oh,
Bromley.
yeah. Insurance. Yeah.
I was in
Yeah.
the insurance apprenticeship for about a year with Wesleyan, um, which was a good experience, but I hated it. Like, I
Mm,
did point in the apprenticeship, so I did that for a year. I felt my talent was wasted. It's just an admin apprenticeship. I was
mm,
just data entry. I was going in, just doing normal stuff, and I was seeing people there that were there for ages. No one was really progressing, and I think the one thing that got it for me was there was a guy. He'd been there for like 10 years, and he used to be friends with like the senior manager. He used to come in every now and then, and it took him 10 years making friends to just go for a move up and end up on a 20,
wow.
30 grand a year salary. And I was like, oh, this is not for me, man. There's no movement in a normal role. It's just you got to make friends and hope that someone takes a shine to you to push you up. And then um I just had him a note, and when I walked out one day,
Yeah.
that was it. I said, nah, I'm not doing this. I had my notice in one day, walked out, went to the job center.
Mhm.
I think yeah, I told my family, and then I got bollocked again. Just like, why? Because Wesley's a big company. Everyone thinks you work for a big company. It's great.
Yeah.
Blah, but I'm like, nah, this is not it. So I got bollocked. I said, I don't really care. I went to the job center.
Yeah.
I was adamant about I never wanted to sign on because I thought it's up here they need the money, and that's not with me. So I just went there. I said, I don't want to sign on. Just give me a list of all your sales jobs.
Yeah.
So they printed it all off. And I just applied to every single one. Done my CV, applied to every single one.
Yeah.
I started just interviewing and hustling from there.
And that early experience of selling door to door, Sky, I mean, Sky is something that people are interested in. I guess there's that. It's a good product if you like that kind of thing. But where do you get the chutzpah, I think is the word, to go and knock on somebody's door and sell to them when you're 16? What is it about you that made you go, yeah, I could do this?
You don't know any better, right? At the time, like you think it was weird. I think my mate somehow did it. Like there's all these jobs in it online at commission only. He was doing it. He was like, "Yo, this is what I'm doing," and I was like, "All right, get me in." He was like, "You sure?" I was like, "Yeah, get do it."
Yeah,
So I went there, smashed the interview. I was always good at interviews.
yeah,
Smashed the interview, and it's like it wasn't like hard. I knew it was hard work, but that did put me off because they tell you the kind of money you can make, and I was like, "Wow."
yeah,
Shit doesn't matter. I'll knock on all the doors. Like I'll knock on doors all day long if I can make that kind of money. So it
yeah,
was just I didn't know any better, but it was just the reward of the kind of money and offer was just like, yeah,
yeah,
amazing. 16, like 17, who can make that kind of money?
yeah. Um, and is there anyone in your family that has enjoyed a sales career, or are you the first person to do this?
Wow, the first person. Everyone's like, sales isn't a proper job. It's
Yeah,
not a career. You can't make, you can't make long-term money. Never gonna.
yeah,
It's not sales is like a big taboo in this country. It's not seen as a
yeah,
career. It's just like a short-term stopgap that maybe sometimes people do. That's about it. But
yeah,
I was just like, ah, I'm gonna do it. I enjoyed it the first time around, so I might as well do it again. It's like it's one of the few jobs you can do. I remember after my apprenticeship thinking, wait, I don't have any. I can't go for a grad scheme.
hmm
Like I can't go for a grad scheme. I can't go for certain programs because I don't have the qualifications. And it was like, well, sales gives me the money. It's something I can do.
hmm
Again, I kind of saw like I don't see why you need a degree to be a regional store manager of Aldi and Lidl, which was like decent paying. I don't know why a degree would get you in there or the big four and
yeah,
everything. So there weren't many options in the first in at that time anyway. Like to
yeah,
make decent, either what go work in retail, go work in a Next or something like that, which I never used to get I never used to get through anyway. Or
mm.
go into sales, which I had a taste for before and wanted to do.
And when you went to the job centre and said, print me off your list, what sales roles were you interviewing for? Where did that take you?
Um, they were mainly like telesale jobs for like
Yeah,
businesses selling just random stuff.
yeah,
I didn't have loads of interviews because I think I didn't get many applications back, and the first couple of ones I got, I did relatively well at.
hmm
I just pushed that through pretty quick, but they
mm,
weren't like big business. I was a big business that look for grad sales people, right? So it was just like
mm,
small little random companies like call centers or telesales or doing something like that.
yeah,
Remember I applied out for Capita once on their customer
hmm
service reps as well. But yeah, that was probably the biggest company I really applied to. Most of them were just like little random little huts around Birmingham to get
yeah.
into.
And I remember where I grew up, it was it was a double glazing firm that loads of people went to work for.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and there was door to door selling of vacuum cleaners. Can't think what they were called, Kirby's or something. They used to come into your house and hoover your uh mattress and say, "Look at how disgusting your house is." People go, "Oh my God, take my money."
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, back then door
yeah,
to door wasn't like what it is now. Like now
mm,
I don't think you can even do that. Like no one will let you in the house now. But
no,
then it was just like, you'd have a conversation, you'd point and you'd walk, and people just let you in and they're like, well, here's a cup of coffee, let's have a chat. Like people just let
yeah,
you in the house. Like this is what I don't know how many years ago it was, like 10, 12 years ago. But yeah,
yeah,
it was times back then. You couldn't do that now. I don't think.
no. Where did you go then? After you've sacked the apprenticeship
Uh-huh.
and you're interviewing for new sales roles. Where did that take you?
So I ended up at a real small business, right? Like four of us. They were selling advertising space for their own
All right,
magazine,
yeah,
like a proper startup, right? They'd only had like one prototype. We had like one case study. It's a
yeah,
small office. There was, I think, four of us. and a part-time designer and a part-time editor, because we couldn't afford to get everyone on full-time. So I think this is the first 6 months. So it's probably like hire and fire environment, because you can't go through people, because if you're not making sales in like a month, then it would get that money to keep you on, right? Because you're on a basic salary, and you're getting commission only. So went in there, and a bit of a boiler room environment, right? It was just go find the numbers, put them in an Excel spreadsheet, pick up the phone, and dial and sell and close there on the goal. That's pretty much what it was, selling advertising space.
Wow. Like just ticking off all the tough ones.
Yeah.
Did you have a bell to ring when you got a sale?
I don't think we could afford a bell. Do you have a bell? No, we didn't have a bell. It wasn't like, it was just a tiny little office. So I think even if you got up, there's probably nowhere to go. So we didn't have a bell or anything. It was just like, hey, got a deal, and then everyone. There's only 3 of us, but I remember like get pretty chuffed. It was a really good experience. Just making a ton of dials. Speaking to like hotel owners or like marketing teams in the big ones and concierge companies and stuff, and it's all trial and error. It was like a baptism of fire. Like I think I was 1 day away from getting fired in the first month, and nothing was coming through. And then I remember I pitched this one. It was just luck. I pitched this one Mexican hotel company, and they didn't even speak English, and I was just trying to talk to him, and he didn't really. We were speaking bits and bits, and they were like, "Hang up the phone, it's not going to work." And I was like, "No, I can do it." And then he's like, "Yeah." He said, "Yes, send me the invoice." Sent him the invoice, and he came back and said, "Can I pay it in 2 amounts?" And I was like, "Yo, Gaffer, can we do this?" And he was like, first one says, "Ah, yeah, safe." And that saved my job. Like they were going to fire me on that day if and then from there it just clicked, and I just started smashing it.
Right. And where do you find the kind of resilience from to perform under pressure like that, where you're making, I don't know, 80 or 100 calls and getting no, and then like, right, and now I'm going to be fired in 10 minutes unless I close a sale. How do you cope with that without losing your rag and just shouting at people, please, for the love of God, buy some advertising space from me?
I think at the time it was just like I had to make it work, right? Because I'd gone out on a limb. I told everyone I'm going to get in sales. If it didn't work, then I came back with my tail in between my legs, and it was just like I had to tell everyone it didn't work out, and I couldn't do it. And everyone's like, "So," and that was in the back of my mind every fucking day, going through. It wasn't the getting no's and stuff that didn't really bother me. It was more so like if it didn't work, then I'd come back and everyone would tell me, "Well, gotta go back to uni." And I was like, "No, it's not gonna happen." So I think it's I think they always say someone with a chip on the shoulder or a point to prove is a dangerous person, and I think that's what it was. And I was just like, nice, I'm just gonna make it work. Just kept going, and luckily,
go on. Luckily
it came through at the last minute and the last day.
Wow. How do you get from selling advertising space to a Mexican hotel chain to entering the world of tech and sort of realizing that that is a great place to be an SDR?
A lot of luck. It was just everything. I think when I look back, everything is just like massive coincidence and a hell of a lot of luck. So I was doing well at the advertising space. Top seller there that ever had. Do some good things. We moved office like 4 times. We had good revenue. I had a bit of a bust up with the managers. Again, it was like a common theme throughout my early career. Had a bit of a bust up. In between that, I'd moved out house. So I moved down. Right. So I moved out had my own rent and stuff to pay. Had a bust up, left without having another job to go to. So I had I remember I had 2 weeks to find a job, otherwise I wouldn't be able to pay my rent. So then I kind of heard recruitment was a good place to make money. It's a good place to do. So that's when I started. So I specifically went out to all the recruitment companies. Went out, found them all, applied, called them up, said, "Look, I'm good. Give me a job. I'm not half bad." I had quite a few interviews. There were a lot of most of them just wanted degree people as well, and that was where I faced some interesting conversations in a lot of the interview processes.
Mm.
But then toward the end, I got a couple of offers. Like, I just kept speeding it up. Got a couple of offers, chose one. So I was working in recruitment, doing exec search and stuff. And we used to hear about like these people in tech making a lot of money, right? But
Yeah.
we didn't know nothing. We just thought it's a myth. Like, there's people at London, big shots, very super smart people. Never ever thought in my wildest dreams I'd ever kind of enter the industry. I remember thinking like money, man. Like, some of the people used to recruit for them and they used to make money. I was like, it just went over your head. It wasn't something we could do. And then left there, went to a different recruitment company. They asked me to build out a new, and this is how I mean total luck. They asked me to build out a new market. Like, my thing was new business. So then I did my research, and that's how I came across SaaS. It's pure luck, coincidence. I just saw an article on software as a service industry and tech, and I was like, whoa, this space is growing. They hire a lot, which means the salaries are good, which means as a recruiter, volume and salaries means decent fees consistently. It was like a perfect market to. And then I started recruiting for SDRs, SDRs and A's and heads of sales. And then I looked at the SDR and I thought, like, is it young kids, man, making like 40, 50 grand a year? And everyone was just like laissez faire. It was nothing like recruitment, 12 hours, 15 hours a day.
Yeah.
Come late, you get bollocked. And everyone was happy. And I was like, everyone's just so happy in this space. Like, completely different. But again, they everyone back then, even now it is, but back then you needed a degree. Very few people actually got in without a degree. Like I don't know how many years ago now, 4 or 5 years ago. So I thought,
and for the people that, tech industry, and well, all industries have their own language. SDR as an acronym,
sales development representative. So it's like it's the entry level sales role. So ultimately, it's where the aim is to bring in new business, right? So you're generating meetings for the accounting for the other salespeople to go and close. So it is
okay. And it's fun, and I have like done one of those roles. It was called internal sales in the olden days. But it's interesting. There's so much that I can relate to what you're saying, because I entered the industry, didn't have a degree, but you turn around and go, what do you mean? These people are earning 80 grand. And it wasn't that they were some mythical like person. They were just a person who had found their way into the industry. So I can see why you'd go from recruiting in that space to going, maybe I need to operate in this space or have an offering for this space.
Yeah, 100%. And it was the same skill set, right? Like, I'm still winning business in recruitment. I'm selling a service. So the process outbound and winning meetings and cold calling and emailing was the same skill set that was needed. So I was like, why don't I do it? Like, I'm here slaving away. Commission was all right, but why can't I do it? So then I thought, I'm going to do it again. What triggered me? I was thinking about it, and then again I had another bust up with the manager there. Everyone had a bust up with him, though, to be fair. That was me. Everyone else ended up leaving after I did. And I was like, I just flicked the switch. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going. So then I started applying to roles. All the connections I had built up, none of them, they all disappeared when I SDR. I was applying, all the talent teams and all the agencies, they wouldn't look at you because they openly advertise grads, right? That's all. If you look at all the big agencies, they specifically say they hire grads. Some of them have changed now, I think, since we come along the scene, but so none of them would look at me, right? So I had to just go direct again, just like email the people directly, avoid the kind of talent teams, just call up the sales director and say, look, man, just give me a job. I'm not that bad. No one used to do that back then. And then it was like, all right, that's how I kind of got into that, go over above and beyond. So then and 2 weeks later, I just moved down to London, and like I moved into London like the day before my job started or something like that, like 2 weeks, just up to moved. And look back, I was like, whoa, this is insane.
Wow. And I just know there's part of me thought we need to call this episode bust ups and bollockings. But there's this kind of theme of, and you can see this is why you're so well suited to sales. It's like, right, I'm going to find an opportunity, I'm going to pursue the opportunity, and I'm not going to let anyone say I told you so. I'm intrigued to know how you dealt with you said actually going around the talent teams worked for you because actually as a sales manager, I want the best salespeople, and I'd be pretty annoyed if my talent team had missed out on bringing me someone that could close a ton of deals. Um, so I think, like you say, your direct approach proved that they absolutely were getting the right person. How did you deal with people who said, well, you haven't got a degree, so won't look at you?
I think in the year that happened a lot when I was doing the recruitment for the interview piece. When I
Hmm.
was interviewing for the recruitment agencies, it was like you just get questioned a lot, like why don't you go and try and explain it and say, well, it just doesn't make sense. You've got half decent grades, but I was like, I only went because my dad told me to, and I don't really think it's necessary. And then they go out, they kind of ask, well, do you not think a degree is necessary to get into recruitment or to get a
Hmm.
sales job? I was like, no, I can't see the correlation, and they just keep digging and digging and digging, and I just get frustrated. So
Mm.
those interviews didn't go massively well. I think I just get annoyed, like I didn't understand
Yeah,
why having a degree would make me good at sales, like just because I can sit down for 3 years and
yeah,
recache information. Because that's what academic, like the academic system is half of it is just about your ability to, it's comprehension, about your ability to
yeah,
take information and regurgitate it. That's why I was good at it, because I just remember it and regurgitate. I didn't understand half the stuff, but I got good grades
mm,
because I could just regurgitate stuff.
mm,
And that was just frustrating, and it kind of didn't go well in those interviews. But there were
mm,
some interviews where they asked me the question, I explained it, and it was okay. And then
yeah,
the more of my actual skills and what I've done in sales already when I was in
yeah,
recruitment. So it was maybe a bit difficult, and maybe I could have explained things a little bit better. But yeah, it was frustrating. I remember.
yeah. And how did you come to the point where you become a founder of your own business? And I'd love to get into sort of what TrainYo is all about and what you stand for.
Um, so I've always tried like little businesses here and there. I think I've always I've a couple of times I've left jobs and just gone in and tried a new business, and it hasn't worked, and you kind of learn the what kind of didn't work, and you know what you need moving forwards. And then for this one in particular, obviously I was in the SDR spaces and I knew the role pretty well. I had a friend that I've known for a long time, in recruitment. And when I went to another business, he kind of came, and then when I went to tech, he kind of came as well.
Yeah,
He was approached to another startup. Um, he was doing it, and then he had a bit of mutiny, and then he said, I'm going to do it myself. And then he
yeah,
hit me up and he was like, Omar, this is what we're doing, like I want you on board. I was like, no, I didn't know if I wanted to do it. I had a lot of things going on at the time. Basically life was a bit
mm,
hectic. Didn't know if I wanted to do it, and maybe going through a bit of a confidence crisis at the same time.
mhm,
And he was kept asking me, and I remember I was at the gym, I was just rolling my hamstrings. I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it. And
yeah,
then I said, oh, well, I'll do it. And then that was pretty much the decision done. Like it was a good idea to
yeah,
be kind of seeing other companies do it, to go in and to be able to train SDRs, and we could actually help people and make a difference, right? And I'd seen how difficult for people from different backgrounds and even in different countries, right? Because I'd been to poor countries and seen how people lived over there, and I thought this is an opportunity to one year make a shed load of money, but two, have if we do it right, like change things for the
mhm,
better,
yeah,
not just here but everywhere. If
yeah,
we can execute and do what we say we're going to do, we can have a massive impact. So it was just like
mm.
at the end of it, it's just like it's kind of worth the risk and worth everything to do.
And I've spent some time on your website and having a look at where you focus your effort, and I think this is something that made it really exciting to me. And I must have come across you via LinkedIn. But could you speak a bit about the type of people that you want to attract and want to work with and want to offer opportunities to?
Yeah. So I think it is everyone. We don't rule it as it's just for like a certain type of person. We do want to make it is open to absolutely everybody.
Mm,
Um, how it works out, and this was interesting when I was doing the recruiting for the first time, because I used to do everything. So I used to bring people on board and take them through. What was happening was people with the traditional good profiles, they'd interview with me, but then they'd get roles. But
mhm,
people that didn't have the atypical profiles, they're the ones that ended up coming in the program, and
okay.
ones that we were really left with. So it was interesting to see that as well. But ultimately, I think we just want to give people the roots and the belief that doesn't matter where you are now, right? Your situation, your background, or who you know, or anything like that, everyone can have the same opportunity if you've got that work ethic, that drive, and desire to actually be in sales. You can kind of come on and do well.
Mm. And I saw there were some really good questions that I noticed on the site that said something like, I have dyslexia. Can I have, can I participate? I need to work around childcare. Is that okay? And there were these, I think, 4 questions, and I thought it was really refreshing to see that.
Yeah, I think when we designed, I mean, the website's gone through because maybe the layout isn't amazing. Content's pretty decent. Because there's different things that can affect people, right? Like some people, if they're working from home or they're a single mother, they might need flexibility. We're lucky that in tech you kind of have that with remote roles or like flexible working and things like that. There's people have different learning styles as well. Like Sunil, he's got ADHD, he's dyslexic as well, but he's obviously an amazing SDR and an amazing founder as well.
Mm-hmm.
And those sorts of things shouldn't stop you from
Mm.
kind of getting to the workforce and getting into a career. But we know that those are maybe limiting beliefs that people have and think if they're in a certain situation, they have a certain lifestyle that maybe they're limited in their options.
Yeah.
But it's not the case. It's just you've got to find the organization that can kind of work around that and can cater to that. And I think the good thing about tech is it is pretty open like that, and
Yeah.
you will get managers who will cater different learning styles, and they will be flexible depending on people's situations as well. So in the right space to do it, it's just making people aware that that's an option as well.
Mm. And how does your program work then? How do you take a raw recruit and turn them into an SDR that somebody wants to employ?
A lot of hard work on their end, right?
Yeah.
Uh, free, so we don't charge anyone for the training, which is quite eye-opening for a lot of folks. So it's an 8-week program. It's in the evenings. It's 3 hours a day. So a lot of people, they're working full time. They're coming in. They're doing the 3 hours at night. So you've got to have a level of work ethic, and you've got to be able to clear your diary for 8
Mm.
weeks. But during that, they're taught by the top people in the industry. So we actually pay for the people to come on, right? But they get a chance to learn from like VPs, SDR directors, SDR managers, SDRs doing the job right now. So they're learning from the top people who are doing the jobs right now, which is a massive help. They get a chance to network with leaders in the space that they never normally have access to, right? So they
Yeah.
get as people, they get to learn everything that they need to learn, from cold calling to emailing to the different technology stacks that we use, mindset as well. That's massively important in sales.
Yeah.
They go through the full program, they get all the support that they need. So
Yeah.
by the end of it, the ones that are left are the ones that have kind of done the work required. They've put in the 8 weeks of pain, and they're much better set up to succeed. Like the transformation in people over 8 weeks is mad. Like I've seen it firsthand because again, I used to kind of do it all. The transformation people go through as people, and the confidence they have by the end of it is pretty insane. It's a
Yeah.
drastic.
And do you think, well, I'll ask the question differently actually. So how do you make money then? If it's free for everyone that wants to become an SDR, how do you make money?
So we make money. It's a good question. We make money on the company side of
Yeah.
things. So we now have a platform. So once everyone completes the program, they're uploaded into our job board or hiring marketplace, whichever you want to frame it. Then companies will pay us to have access and be
Yeah.
able to hire those SDRs that have been trained and come from different backgrounds at the same
Yeah.
time. So also companies are massively benefit because normally they just hire someone fresh and in sale in an SDR role, you don't know who actually
Yeah.
wants to be in sales. They'll leave because they realize how hard cold calling is, and it takes a long time to get people up to scratch because you are
Yeah.
doing that. Companies benefit because they've now got people who have proven they want to be in sales, and they can like ramp up in half the time because they already know how to cold call by some of the
Yeah.
best people in space. They already know how to email. They understand parts
Yeah.
of the tech, so they can hit the ground running a lot quicker. So companies benefit massively.
Yeah.
The people benefit massively at the same time as well.
Yeah. Um, I made a note from when we first spoke, and you talked about intelligence versus smart. And I'd love for you to share just some of your thinking around that.
Yeah, I think there's book smart, and then there's work smart as well. And I think there is a difference, but I think that's what, when people look at, the reason why a lot of people look for that degree is because they think it demonstrates intelligence, right? But ultimately, I don't believe there's a direct correlation between intelligence and going to university, right? I think what university shows is you can work hard for 3 years,
Yeah.
that you're suited to the academic system and you learn in a certain way. Doesn't necessarily mean you have an advantage over someone that hasn't gone to university to do a specific sales job. If you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer, you need to have specific knowledge and stuff,
Yeah.
right? For general business roles or for sales positions, I don't believe there's a direct correlation there. And I think that's where a lot of companies kind of make the mistake with having that as a filter. I don't believe it gives anyone an advantage or makes them smarter for the role. Gives them the ability to study, but does it make them a better salesperson? I don't think
Yeah.
it's
And where do you get your how do you get to hope this doesn't sound weird. How do you get to scratch your sales itch? Now you're running an organization.
yeah.
Where do you get your selling fun?
I still sell, so I still do it all. So I'm
Yeah.
still on the tools that I've got the team of SDRs, so I still portion part of the day out to do that outreach. Still close most of the deals as well alongside everything else that we do. So it's like 15 a day because you've got to pretty much do everything.
Yeah.
I still do the closing. I still do some of the outreach as well. So I still get that kind of buzz
Mm.
when you close a deal, you get someone in. So I'm still responsible for that whilst I'm running the business. So I still get a chance to do that. Obviously, as we grow, and I'll probably have to move away from it at some point. But for now,
Mm.
I still quite enjoy it. It's kind of like in the blood for now.
Yeah. And thinking about what's next for you that you're able to talk about. I don't like to put people on the spot too much, but sort of looking ahead, what are you aspiring to? What do you fancy doing next?
Um, growing the business as big as possible. If you want to develop out the platform piece, get the product strong, we want to go into different regions as well. We've kind of recently gone into to Ireland. We're
Hmm.
in the US. I want to like go across Europe and hit up APAC and in the Middle East and Africa as well. I think there's a lot of work, good work we can do in those regions as well,
Hmm.
and quite a lot in those spaces. So they could be quite interesting for us. And then I think in the next kind of like 3-5 years, the longer term play is to really build out an alternative education system that is low cost or free to most people, but that
Yeah.
actually for a position specifically in industry. So not a generic degree, like something specific on like a product role, something specifically on a marketing role, something specifically on further aspects of the sales roles as well, which enables
Mm.
anyone, right? Doesn't matter where you are in the world or what your background is, anyone can have access, and everyone will have equal access to practical education and opportunities at the same time. Because there are certain things out there, but they are pretty high cost and
Yeah.
not available to everybody.
Yeah.
But I believe if we can do that, we can make a big difference, man.
Definitely. And it's still my experience of the careers sector, seeing my kids go through, my daughter's at sixth form, that's the one. But seeing the careers advice that's available, it's still very basic. I think she filled out a questionnaire and it said you could be a circus performer. I mean,
Yeah,
come on.
yeah, I remember we did one of those in sixth form. I think I can't remember what I got, but I remember we did a lot of that, and I think that's what it is. I think especially in the UK, there's a lot of work to be done around like options out there for
Yeah,
people.
yeah,
Even the ones that do go to university, a lot of people that go to university will get a degree and they don't know what to do afterwards with it. Like you get a generic, like most people get a psychology or graphic design or a generic degree,
yeah,
they still don't know what their options are because it can
yeah,
be very difficult going to those niche specific areas. But a lot of people are just left in the lurch and they end up just working in retail for a few years trying to work out what to do with the degree that they've
yeah,
got. There's there's options like post degree, there's options pre that, and then there's people who are trying to transition and are just sick and tired of what they're doing. So I think there's a lot of work to be done at all stages of the kind of career life cycle
yeah.
in the US as well.
And as a kind of final question, then, what do you think has held you in good stead throughout your career and life to date? What are the kind of the qualities or things, the values that you have that have enabled you to do what you've done?
Oh, that's a good question. I think choosing the difficult options early in my career gave me that resilience to do what I do now, like choosing to go into sales, even when in recruitment, choosing to go build out a new division. You learn a lot of skills, but it gives you a lot of, like, you got to go through a lot of shit. And that's like what being in a startup is, right? I think other things that are really important in terms of resilience and work ethic is moving at a young age was a big game changer. The way you see the world is automatically and massively different, right? Like if you walk out of a job, you can't just chill at home and relax and pick the right thing. If you have to, you got to clean floors, right?
Yeah.
And those things kind of develop a work ethic and a level of resilience that I think not a lot of people generally have. And for me, those are things that I believe make me stick out a little bit is the resilience and the work ethic is at such a high level because you move at a young age, because you go against the grain.
Yeah.
And having a chip on your shoulder and a point to prove is one of the biggest motivators anyone can ever have. I think I've heard it time and time again. Someone's got a point to prove. They're a dangerous person because the level of drive that gives you is just crazy. You've got to balance it because sometimes it can have a counter effect as well, which I've seen at the same time. But I think those are the things that have set me in real good stead and done wonders for me more than like ability or anything else like that.
Fantastic. And I guess to that point, I think we should say, because you can work from anywhere, be anywhere, run an organization from wherever. You're currently in Casablanca, yes?
Yeah,
I
correct.
can say that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm allowed to say that.
yeah. Been around. I think yeah, seeing how remote work is and has definitely kind of changed things for us. Like we said when we said it was good remote, anyone go anywhere. I think I've been to like I don't know how many countries I've been to since we started this up. 6 or 7. I've been to a few different places, work from all over. So yeah, I think that's one of the biggest advantages, and I love it. Just the ability to get up and go anywhere you want, whenever you want, within reason, right? Like budgetary constraints and all that. But yeah, it's pretty cool not having to have winter for the past couple of years. Helps me.
Yeah, I know. That's it. I'm sat in a chilly room in my house. I've just absolutely loved speaking to you, Omar, and I love what TrainYo is about. I will put links in the show notes so people can find it. But if people are only listening, where is the best first place to go if people want to get involved?
Website. So check out the website. It's www.trainyo.com. And that'll have all the information to sign up, learn more information, or if you just want to know more about the team as well. Everything is on the website and all the content details are there as well.
Fantastic. Well, thanks, Omar. And I can't wait to hear what your next idea is while you're rolling out your calves.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'll keep you updated. I'll let you know.
Yeah, thank you.